Welcome to the Box Score Sports Podcast.
Let's start with our NBA exit interview with the Minnesota Timberwolves. So the Timberwolves finished 49-33, sixth in the West, and then they were in the Western Conference Finals, but got shellacked. So it's in 5 games against OKC. So give me your grade for the Wolves.
Um, a B. I
Mhm.
think it went fairly well. Again, a C is average for me. So, they're a grade up. I don't really hold the 6 seed against them. Again, they're 1 game from being the 3 seed. So, whatever, the West is the West. So, it's hard to, be like, oh, that 1 game knocked you down. Um, Julius Randle, I think both teams kind of won the trade, which is weird to say,
Sure.
but I mean, both teams were in the conference finals. Um, he really kind of turned it around. He started the year kind of how we worried about, like, this is this is kind of what we thought might go wrong with having Julius Randle on this team. But he came around, team player. His passing was big. Some of those playoff games, like he took over parts of those games. Um, in the long run, though, you come up short. Like you said, um, OKC didn't have much of a hard time. So from that point, it's disappointing. But again, you get to the Western Conference Finals 2 years in a row. We had them as contenders to start the year. A few times during the year, it looked a little iffy, but in the long run, they probably were the second or third best team in the conference. It's just you're in the conference with Oklahoma City, and they need a little more.
Yeah, I think the Nuggets are really the second team, just because they definitely handled maybe it's a rock paper scissors thing because last year the Wolves beat the Nuggets. But anyway, yeah, I agree. Randall overall win, like you said, I think both teams won the trade. We know Edwards is only 23. He got a little better this year. I'd like to see like more of that post up game, him develop sort of a post up game, kind of uh, keep the defenders guessing what you're going to do. Don't always have to drive to the basket and don't always have to shoot a three. I just think that's easy to predict. I gave him a B plus. Um, Rod Dillingham, he didn't get much time to like develop and stuff like that. I'm always concerned with young players on contenders because they just don't have the patience to allow young players like that to develop. And the fact that he didn't even like they were so desperate for a second ball handler against OKC and they didn't even try to throw him out there says a lot. And that's the biggest like con for me is just how far it seems they are away from actually contending with OKC is that was a little depressing to watch that Western Conference Finals. So that's a big con for me as well.
Yeah, you can definitely see they're a really good team, but I think sometimes you build your team, in their case, last year to beat Denver.
That's true.
This year, I think they were just trying to get out from Towns. Um, but you would look at their roster and think they should match up okay, but it's just Gobert hurts them in that case with some spacing. Like Conley, I mean, he played pretty good for a 37-year-old dude. He had some games in those series where you're like, he still got something in there. Um, but just the mix of it is just it's a little short, and it's hard to take that next step with as we get into their offseason guys that are free agents, cap situation, all of that. And like you said, Rob Dillingham, I mean, they made that trade last year and everyone kind of praised it. We didn't see anything from it. I think you're going to need to see something from it to make it worth it at this point. I believe they swapped out like a future pick with the Spurs a ways out to get him.
Yeah.
So ideally, you need to see that happen because they're going to need um, some more guard play to replace Conley, um, and just in the long run, it's going to come down to Anthony Edwards for this. He's going to have to find that balance of chucking 10 threes, and getting a little bit of a mid range game in these, especially in the playoffs.
Yeah, agreed. Okay, you ready to go into their off season? Speaking of their off season, okay. So their off season looks like this. They have they're under the second apron, above the first apron. They have the 17th and the 31st pick. They got a player option from Julius Randle and Naz Reid. Nikhil Alexander Walker is also a free agent. I think that's everybody of note, but those are all kind of big names and big factors into their team. They have no future first round picks this trade, but 4 seconds. So that's where they're at right now. What do you think they should focus on this offseason? What are your thoughts?
This is where it's tough for them because unless you work it just right, it's going to be hard to bring Alexander Walker back.
Hmm.
You know, I don't think they're going to be able to pay him enough. Maybe you can finesse it with Naz Reid or Julius Randle, but again, especially in Randle's case, he's 30. He played fine for you, but do you want to pay him 30, 35 million a year going forward? Tough to say. Naz Reid, again, with the limited cap space, it's hard to say what his options are going to be.
Right.
But if he doesn't get a big 20 something, $25 million offer, maybe he just wants to stay, get him for the mid level price range. Um, so they have a lot of decisions to make, and as you brought out, not a lot of assets to do so. So they're kind of this is where the Rudy Gobert trade, while it probably in a sense paid off because you've been to two Western Conference Finals. Um, so you've won a lot of games, but now it's hard to keep the team together um, with him and with the assets that are out the window.
Yeah, I agree. I think they're kind of stuck in between a rock and a hard place in a sense because I think they'd rather keep Reed and move on from Gobert, but it's going to be hard to trade Gobert. Uh, I think that they probably want to keep Randall because of what he did, especially in the playoffs. Like he played really good in the playoffs. But what's the price tag on him? That's going to be important. And then like even if nothing, like what do you do? You need a second ball handler, an effective one, and either Dillingham has to get better or you need to go out and find one. But like you mentioned, limited assets. So primary focus for me needs to be a ball handler next to um, uh, Edwards, whether that's developed within or someone else that they can bring in. Like I mentioned in another video, De'Aaron Fox is a big name that they could try to pull out and get or whatever. But anyway, they just need to find someone. I just don't know what ways they would do that.
Yeah, and that's why you look at you. I mean, you really like Minnesota, like their
Hmm.
guards, their forwards. They have like that modern look that you would ideally want. It is just hard to keep a team like that together when you've given up the assets. Kind of went all in, and again, as we said, kind of worked, but now you really got to win on the margins.
Yeah, totally agree. Okay, anything else before we move to our long shots?
I don't think so.
Yeah. I'm trying to figure this out. So I got like the Bobby Marks thing, and I'm like, when he says 199, does that include the player options or does that not include the player options? I assume it includes them. So like if Randall rejects his player option instead at 199, they would be at 169, losing that 30 million. Is that correct? That would make sense. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay. Okay. You're not looking at what I'm looking at, but that would make sense to me. Okay. What's your long shot trade for the Wolves or
So
move?
yeah, if you want to keep your guys together and you have limited assets, I was just doing it while you were talking. Could you dump Rudy Gobert to the Lakers, who are perpetually looking for a center, and you could just take back Maxi Kleber, Gabe Vincent, Jared Vanderbilt. Again, 2 of those are expiring contracts. It is what it is. At that point, bring back your guys, and then again fill out your bench with minimums. The Lakers get a center they kind of need, someone to play with Luka inside. Not a sexy trade, but there's not. I don't think there's many teams out there that are looking for a center. The Lakers are one of them. And could you just get out of that deal in the short term, even if you have to give up? Maybe you have to give up one of those second round picks, whatever. Probably more, in all honesty, because he has 2 years after this left. Not a crushing number, $35 million plus some raises, but long shot. Do you get rid of Rudy Gobert to a team like the Lakers who need it just to get some salary? I swear I can speak. Relief, even if you send out Maxi Kleber, if you dump him somewhere else, or make it a 3-team trade, just something along those lines to keep the more important guys of your team together.
How many second round picks would Brooklyn have to take on Rudy's contract? I know they got Nick Claxton, but they could just outright take it. So I'm just like how many? They got 4 tradable ones. Would 4 second round picks to Brooklyn, would that allow them just to like outright take Rudy?
I don't know. The Nets might seem like a team unlike we talked about with the Blazers. That might be like, if you're calling us, you might be kind of desperate.
Yeah.
Throw something else our way. Because they could ideally be like, well, opposed to doing that, if you're Brooklyn, you could be like, why would we do that? We could just go offer Alexander Walker more money than you can.
Well, they could do both. They got
right.
so much money they could do both.
So,
right?
But I mean, in that aspect, you're like, do we really want to help you out for just some second round picks, or do we want to be like, no, you're stuck, and we'll just go sign Alexander Walker?
Yeah, that's what you wish teams would have done with the Celtics, like let's play a hardball. Yeah, I kind of agree, but I was just kind of thinking that in my head, like, man, it'd be good if they could get rid of Rudy. What about the Blazers? They love taking on these bad contracts. Would they like Ayton for Rudy Gobert straight up?
They'd be like, oh, no one's ever going to score on us again.
How many second round picks would the Blazers throw into the trade to get Gobert for Ayton? Like, I don't know. Okay. I'm just playing around there. Okay. Yeah, I had another team that really needs a center is the Pelicans. So I said, would a DeJounte Murray for Rudy Gobert trade? It would kind of satisfy each team's need, and it would give the Pelicans a center, and they just got Jordan Poole, and it would give DeJounte Murray a new home in Minnesota, and they need another ball handler, which Murray can handle the ball. So that was kind of my long shot trade. Like I said in other videos, it's like a 1% chance happening, probably won't, but that was the trade I thought of, other than that Fox trade I mentioned earlier.
Yeah, and I think we'll find out soon how desperate they might be, because I think Alexander Walker holds a lot of intrigue to a lot of teams would like a dude like that. So we'll find out if they can finagle something else. I think it'll start with Julius Randle. If they can try to work a deal with him, like an extend. But Julius Randle doesn't seem like one of the guys that's like, you know what? As a favor, I'm only going to take $25 million.
Yeah, correct. So as far as the trade, would you think the Pelicans would say no first, or the Timberwolves? Or do you think like it's kind of like both sides would probably be like, yeah, it's fine?
I think it would fall in the fine category.
Yeah.
If you're Minnesota, but again, if you're Minnesota, you might be kind of backed into a corner where if you can do something, you can do something.
Yeah, it's $5 million less, so it frees up $5 million more for you as well. So anyway, okay. Anything else on the Wolves? Okay. Let's move on. Thanks so much for watching this clip of the Box Score Sports Podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you haven't yet, please subscribe to our channel. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter or X. And we'll talk to you guys real soon. See ya.